We can mourn and we can lament, but we must not lose hope or stop taking action to protect Medicaid. Grace and peace to you, friends. My name is Sarah Menke, and I am a Lutheran pastor and chaplain for enCircle, which is Lutheran Family Services of Virginia, a part of the Lutheran Services of America network. Since our founding in 1888, we have grown across the Commonwealth of Virginia to provide a wide range of services for children and adults and families. Our services include supporting foster kids, counseling services, special education, immigration services, and today's focus, one of our largest services, supporting folks with developmental disabilities. We had hoped. We had hoped is one of my favorite refrains and my favorite stories of Scripture. It comes just after Jesus' death and resurrection, but the news of the resurrection is still not known. And so Jesus' friends are walking down this road towards a town called Emmaus. They're walking with each other and they're talking, and they're joined by a stranger. And the stranger asks them what they're talking about. And together these friends lament the things that they had hoped for. How their friend Jesus had died, how they had hoped that he would be the one that would redeem their people. And the stranger listens. The stranger listens as they walk and continue in their journey towards Emmaus. Yeah, and I'm not sure about you, but this refrain has become one of my own in these days. We had hoped. We had hoped that Medicaid wouldn't be cut. We had hoped that our family and friends and neighbors with disabilities and health needs would keep their lifeline to health and community services. We had hoped that our work, tireless and persistent and impassioned, would change the hearts and the minds of those in power. We had hoped. Now, on that road to Emmaus, a few things happen as this stranger who is listening finally offers a word to these disciples as they lament. He reminds them of this long arc of God's story of which they are a part. He reminds them of the promises that God has made to them and Jesus' suffering and death and resurrection. He reminds them that they are still in the midst of this story, not yet at the end. So the disciples invite this stranger to stay with them and eat with them. And it's in this meal that they realize it's their friend, it's Jesus, that this story that they thought was over is not. And I love this passage, this story in Luke's gospel for a lot of reasons. Among them, it reminds me that hope is restored when we are allowed to grieve and lament the things that feel lost. And not just that feel lost, but that are lost. Jesus could have jumped in sooner. The disciples could have been cut off early, been short-circuited in their grief. But Jesus gave his friends the space they needed to share their experience of life as it was in this most uncertain moment, full of sadness, not sure of what was to come. I also love this story because as the disciples and the stranger talk, they don't ever stop walking. They don't ever stop moving towards that destination. And now I believe that there is a word of grace and a word of charge in this story for us who are here today. The cuts to Medicaid are devastating. Your stories that are being shared in these 60 hours are testifying to this. You know this. And are we not still walking? Are we not still moving? Are we not still on the road with our friends? If the future feels uncertain and unclear, take heart because this is a familiar story. As we look to these stories of faith that are here today, perhaps that we can see that we are not at the end of our story. As a people united in God's charge to care for our neighbor, we're in the midst of it. Hope is not lost. And this fight, as we hear again and again, the fight continues for ourselves, for the ones we love, for those we support. There's a Lutheran theologian, Jürgen Moltmann, and he writes this about hope, that hope lives in the great divine mystery, which is above us and around us, nearer to us than we can be to ourselves. It encounters us at the great promise of our life and this world. Nothing will be in vain. It will succeed. In the end, all will be well. It meets us too in this call to life. I live, and you shall also live. We are called to this hope, and this hope often sounds like a command to resist death and resist the powers of death, a command to love life and cherish it, every life, the life we share, the whole life. So on this table, I have placed a picture of Marquita. She is a person supported by enCircle who serves her community with creativity and joy and an incredible entrepreneurial spirit. Together with Marquita, together with the folks we know and love, together with the folks we do not know, but who we love.
Thanks.
May we be filled with hope. May we be filled with peace for this journey that is ahead, knowing that we are not at the end of this story, nor do we walk it alone. Thanks be to God.